sentimental, educational, and recreational to some degree spot in my heart. And the addition onto the thing was probably one of the achievements that I've done in my lifetime that I would have never thought would happen, that I was a part of, and appreciate that. But having said that, I'm also very glad I'm here today because we solved the challenge of the problem of who did what. And it's going to be very difficult to bring closure to such a senseless act without solving the crime. I'd like to take the opportunity on behalf of the city of Auburn and myself and all the citizens of Auburn to thank the fire department. They responded and the fire was out within 12 minutes. The water damage was very, very, very minimal. A lot of times we have stained glass windows that were not touched. I appreciate that for a lot of respects. They're irreplaceable. And water can do as much damage as the fire itself. And the firemen at all the fire departments that responded, and the chief passed that along. And I appreciate that on behalf of the citizens. Also want to thank the police department. This is regretfully the second arson we've had in several weeks, and both of them have been solved very timely within a week of when their occurrence. And it's very difficult to bring closure to, who did what, and then it's up to the people to figure out the whys, and then you can bring some closure. And the third one, I'd like to thank all the citizens. Without the citizens and responding and feeling that they can talk to the police department, the fire department, these things don't get solved. And by them coming forward and giving leads, we wouldn't be here today if it wouldn't have been for the citizens. When you hear something, no matter how small it is, or you've got a concern in your neighborhood or whatever, please call. We'll respond and let these people decide whether it's important or not. And with that, that's the only remarks I have. I'd like to turn it over to, I guess we could turn it over to Fire Chief first, say a few words about the happening, and then the Police Chief, Fire Chief Benzile, and then Chief Barney McCoy's also here, and then they'll open up for questions. You want to make a statement?
The only thing I would like to say is I would certainly like to personally thank the efforts of the Auburn Police Department. The last two incidents we've had, not only at Penguin Point, but also this one, their police department has been excellent, and it's the definition of teamwork between two local agencies, state agencies, also federal agencies. I really would like to thank your group for their hard work on solving these two crimes. Thank you.
Well, I just want to thank you all for coming. I do have a quick news release just to kind of break down, and you can have a copy of this before you leave along with a picture of the suspect. I'll also send this out electronically to everyone who I contacted this morning. The Eckhart Public Library is a shining star for the community of Auburn, so I felt it was important that we get this information out as timely and accurately as possible, and that's why we invited you here, so I wasn't getting flooded with phone calls. I could answer everybody's questions at the same time. But as you're aware, on July 2nd at approximately 2:20 a.m., the Auburn Police and Fire Departments responded to the Eckhart Library at 603 South Jackson on the report of a fire. Auburn Fire arrived on scene at 2:28 and had the fire under control approximately 10 minutes after that. The library, however, did sustain damage from heat, smoke, fire, and a little bit of water damage. Over the next several days, a combined investigation between the Auburn Fire Department, the Auburn Police Department, the Indiana State Fire Marshal's Office, the Bureau of Alcohol, Tobacco, Firearms, and Explosives, the Indiana State Police, and Vergon and Associates Fire Investigation, in cooperation with the library staff, was conducted. On Wednesday, July 5th, it was determined that the fire had been caused by a consumer firework. That firework had been ignited and placed in the book video drop chute, which leads into the administrative area of the library. Evidence along with tips from the public were used to identify a suspect, and on Thursday, July 2nd, yesterday, at approximately 6:30 p.m., Auburn police arrested Nicholas E. Elkin, a white male, age 24, last known to reside at the Super 8 Motel here in Auburn. Elkin was incarcerated at the DeKalb County Jail on charges of possession of a destructive device or explosive with intent, which is a level 2 felony, and also arson, a level 4 felony. I just want to reiterate what Chief Van Zyl said. We all worked really well together, shared information, shared resources. We're able to bring this to a close very quickly. I have to thank my detectives. They worked long hours. They worked very hard. They interviewed a lot of people, shook and rattled a lot of doors. But ultimately, it was the public's help with the tips that they phoned in that helped us solve this. So we're glad to bring this to a close. I can answer a few questions, but just keep in mind that this still is going to need to be prosecuted, so I can't get too detailed.
Do we know where Mr. Elkin was from prior to living in the Super 8 motel?
He is originally born and raised here in Auburn.
Okay. Is there any indication of motive at this point?
I probably should refrain from going into that too much.
Okay. Any idea how large the firework was? What type of firework it was?
I just say that it's something you can buy at any fireworks store
on the
holiday.
On the large end of that, or?
I would not say it's on the large end, no.
Yeah.
Did he have a beef with the library, or was this just somebody being stupid?
Well, again, with prosecution coming up, I really hate to comment, but we're not aware of any beef he had with any employees or the library itself.
So can you describe how it works when it goes into the chute, where it goes from there, once it goes in the book drop chute, how it starts the fire?
From what I understand, the chute is directly into the administrative area there, is at the entrance of the library, which drops into a Rubbermaid container.
Yeah. So.
It's for after hours, for the convenience of the public to
Yeah.
return their items, of course.
Were there other, like, paper items inside it, or?
That I couldn't tell you.
Yeah. So how were you able to, could you say how you were able to find him so quickly?
Well, tips from the public is what led us in his direction, and then, like I say, the detectives from my department just started shaking doors and talking to people and doing interviews, and ultimately led to his arrest. They did an excellent job.
Was there any one thing that broke it? Or
no, I mean, it was a combination of recovering the evidence and being able to determine that actually a firework had started the fire. Just a combination of the entire evidence along with the public's tips that led to his arrest.
So then when did you actually make the arrest?
Last night about 6:30.
Yeah. And he was at that location and no resistance? And
No, he was called into the probation department. He is on probation for another charge. Once we determined that we needed to speak with him, he was called into probation and we contacted him there.
okay. So is he incarcerated or free on bond? Or?
This morning he was still incarcerated.
Yeah.
I don't believe he's made bond yet.
Do you know of any hearings, or is that not decided?
You'd have to talk with the prosecutors. At this point, everything's turned over to the prosecutor's office, and our job's done and hers starts.